these aren't the only Ghostbusters. Yeah, sorry. These are. It is early, obviously.
It's an unimaginable evil. It's the power to kill by fear itself.
Like, literally scared to death?
Congrats on Frozen Empire being out into the world or almost out in the world. You co-wrote and produced Afterlife, obviously, and then presumably you weren't busy enough, so you added directing into the mix
I had a couple
for
spare
Frozen
minutes,
Empire.
yeah.
Yeah. Now that it's done, what was it like juggling that extra responsibility and jumping behind the wheel of the ectomobile, so to speak?
It makes all the difference. I'll let you know that there is nothing in the world as fully embracing of every waking moment of your life and your creative thought, your very essence as a human, as directing a movie of this scale. It is all consuming. Yeah. In retrospect, the role of co-writing and co-producing Afterlife was an absolute walk in the park compared to the level of investment of soul in making one of these stories. It's so rewarding to get to tell these stories, but you really can't do this every year. I don't think anybody would survive it. It's just so all-encompassing. And part of that is just the weight of the responsibility of feeling like these are characters, never mind the rest of the world, characters that we care about so much, Jason and I as writers and as fans, that we have to feel like we're doing right by. And so that creates with it its own level of responsibility. And you add that to every single element in this story, and it just starts to create a tidal wave of responsibility. But it's the greatest honor, and I'm so proud to be able to add my name to the list, the short list of folks who have directed a Ghostbusters movie.
Well, yeah, it's a family legacy for Jason, obviously, and Afterlife was like passing that torch from father to son, from Ivan to Jason, and now they're passing it on to your fresh perspective. Why did you and Jason feel like now was the right time to do that?
Well, I think that for us, the creative process has been a really natural extension of our own friendship that's now almost 20 years old. We met at the very beginning of our film careers when we were both sort of fresh into the beginnings of our first films. And we shared a sort of common bond in a love of movies and in talking about story as a kind of main line of our communication. And that those conversations sort of naturally developed over the years into a collaboration that's kind of naturally evolved into our work on Ghostbusters Afterlife. And I was so privileged to be so close to such a poignant and meaningful bond between father and son on that film, where I got to see Jason step up in a huge way to honor the tremendous legacy of Ivan's work. And to see Ivan appreciate it, how important that transference was between the two of them, and that the story that we crafted in that film took those important familial elements into its narrative consideration. That was a part of the story of Afterlife, was the awareness, the discovery of a legacy that comes with a great responsibility. And so carrying that story forward, I felt both daunted by stepping in to what up until that point had been a family business, but also as a true fan and as a filmmaker who came at this franchise from the point of view of a guy who had never lost touch with the 7-year-old who sat in a dark theater in 1984 and had his life changed watching that first film. Yeah. That was what I had to draw on. That was the sort of bond that connected me to that great legacy. And I really, love these characters. I care for them. I felt like I could do right by them. And it didn't hurt to have Jason as a producer supporting me at every step of this process in the very same way that Ivan was there for him on Afterlife. And in that way, the continuum is not changing directions. it's just extending out into the future, and it felt like a kind of natural process.
It's almost like art imitating life, or life imitating art, with the familial bonds and passing of the torch. It's all
I mean,
very
it was part of
lovely.
it was part of the story we were telling, and Jason and Ivan were never shy about in their interviews on that film, talking about how we were writing to that continuum. So it is one of the things that I think I'm most proud of these films that we've been creating since Afterlife, is that there is a kind of thematic essence to them that is steeped in a character story that has like real authenticity to it. I am really proud of that.
Afterlife had so many great callbacks to the original franchise. Obviously, it was just packed with nostalgia. How did you approach continuing to deliver those Easter eggs in Frozen Empire without, going over ground that's already been covered, and still furthering that Spengler family story?
I took a more environmental approach to the journey of the past in this film. That is to say that I allowed the spaces to dictate where there were callbacks to moments that may have happened in the past. For instance, we go back to the library as part of our storytelling in this film. That gave us the opportunity to revisit a really important and memorable spirit from that first film. And that, again, was because we happened to be there as part of the narrative drive of this film.
Yeah.
Obviously, the firehouse plays a very central role in this story. The firehouse is steeped in Ghostbusters history and lore. We couldn't resist making visual nods to moments that had happened throughout that building's past. And that experience is one that can unfold with multiple viewings.
These films aren't the only Ghostbusters projects that you've got your fingers involved in. It's becoming a bit of a habit, isn't it?
I mean, it's the greatest kind of habit you can have. I feel so lucky to be able to be at the rudder with my partner, Jason, in getting to forge the future of this beloved franchise. It really is all done out of wanting the very best for these characters. There is nothing like telling a Ghostbusters story. It's just so joyful, and the experience that it has on audiences is infectious. When you get a taste of that, I don't know why anyone would go anywhere else.
Exactly. Can you give us any updates on the animated series and when we might get to see that?
Working on it right now. Just saw some incredible artwork for it 2 days ago. It's so beautiful. Yes. It's looking really, really good. So there's a heavy development.
Oh, great. Because the original one is just so iconic, besides the films. And yeah, we're just really excited to see it. And it's been in development for quite a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, these things take time, but we've got a studio that's really behind us, and I'm feeling really optimistic about it. I can't wait.
I love that update. Thank you so much, Gil. It was lovely to speak with you.
Likewise, thank you.